Hey guys, Zach GP Headers here. So behind me I've got Lucas's 65 twin turbo Nova. Now most of all of our work we do is our custom and private label side we do through the website and online. So it may take a couple weeks to wrap this one up, but I want to do my best, get a couple photos and videos of this one coming together, maybe show off a few parts and the way we go about building.
All right, this is what we have to work with. We got a all aluminum big block Chevy, twin 94s. Now they just spent the winter redoing the entire front end, opening it up, giving us pretty much endless space to do whatever we want here. Got a little ahead of myself, kind of did a little bit of fabbing before I started recording. I just want to show off these header flanges we're using from Stainless Headers. Now they're all billet, CNC machined with the O-rings, so no gaskets. The high temp O-rings they sent with them. We'll keep those out while we're fabbing. All right, got the first side all fabbed up. Plug clearance turned out really nice. Plenty of clearance. Change these out in between runs. second side all fabbed up. Pretty much a mirror of the driver's side. Really good spark plug clearance again. Only one that's remotely tight is on the number 8. Stick a little bit of a swivel, and it's wide, pretty wide open. The rest are very good. Got all of our tubes disassembled, ran through the hot water and scrubbed out. So we'll give them a nice finish on the outside and get to welding. Well, of course, right in the middle of tacking all the header tubes back to the flange, blew a coolant line on the 250. I'm sure there's plenty of fingerprints I gotta get cleaned up. Next step might be kind of hard to film, kind of go over it. Pull the collector back, start welding in between all the primary tubes, get everything sealed up before we put the collector back on and finish the weld around the outside. I like doing this with the extra V-band because I can get the header welding done, let everything move, then just focus on everything going up to the turbo. Because with those Maven mounts, if that header moves even 1/8 of an inch, those V-bands are not going to line up very nice. Got the wastegate stub tacked on. A little hard to see. We got about 1 inch of clearance between the fender and the top of the gate. Probably going to wait until we do the 5-inch turbo outlet there before we do the wastegate. Not sure if it's going to come up or down underneath the car. We're a little worried about the tire to go straight down, so we don't want to get right in line with that tire. More than likely going to go up. Alright, hardest part of the build is over. Headers are done, wastegate, everything up to the turbo. Talking with Lucas, I think we're going to try something pretty simple and just do the wastegate dump out the side. We're going to go next to the 5-inch turbo outlet, but we're just going to do something simple, and if we don't like it, it's pretty easy to change later on, and we can cut another hole and run it up instead of down. About as simple as it gets right there. Kicking out to the side, getting it away from the tire. If he wants to change it later on, once everything's solid mounted, we can come back in and change it and maybe go out the side. Waiting on our aluminum for the cold side. Kind of at a standstill, waiting on some clamps for the housings. We keep getting the wrong ones. Probably cut the new hole, be about done. Found some miscellaneous clamps in the back that barely work, but they're going to work long enough for to do this mock-up until the new ones come from Race Part Solutions. 5-inch titanium V-band from Tycon. And we're doing 5-inch titanium. A little bit thicker titanium, but still super light.
Finally to the last part, time to do the aluminum intake. 3.5 inch V-bands coming off the turbo, going to the Vibrant HD clamps. Vice grip's just on there for the meantime. Not a great way to hold it with the sleeve. Great to install, just not great to fab with. All of our aluminum's polished, so after we get done, we'll probably bring that over to Lucas, let him get it painted. Being a body guy, I know he doesn't want me to paint it. Get it matching the rest of the engine bay. Cold side is all done. Get this over to Lucas, let him get it painted, throw fresh O-rings on all these fittings, and we're done.